The third week of our August releases is soon upon us. We're looking at the Speyside region. Now, for the August outturn, we have all the regions of Scotland represented, all 5 official regions, which you can see here. The Lowlands, the Highlands, Speyside, Campbelltown and Islay. Now, Speyside region, we've got 4 new casks. As a region, it had the same sort of story as the 1823 Excise Act. It also had wonderful stories of underground and illicit distilling. There's one distillery I'll pick out and just mention them by name, which is Glenlivet. Now in 1824, because of the Excise Act passing the year earlier, they were the first legal distillery in the region. So there were many distillers before them. If you ever see any some of their marketing that says the Scotland's first distillery or something, I don't think they do that anymore. But for many years they sort of skirted the truth a bit, because why let the truth get in the way of a good story? But this is in this case they were one of the first legal distillers in Speyside region. Today, there's about 50 distilleries, 50, in what is quite a small region. The second smallest region geographically, maybe. Campbelltown is probably the smallest, and then maybe Islay, and then maybe the middle-sized one then. But Speyside is a small region by comparison to, say, the Highlands, but it has a large concentration of distilleries, and if you are travelling to visit these distilleries, it's fantastic going to Speyside because you're in a strong concentration of distilleries around the region. So let's look at these 4 releases. We have 39.310 Pineapple Hipster Beer, a very high scoring whiskey from the team at Whiskey and Almond, I think 92 points. 113.85 an Icebreaker. This one has probably my favourite artwork of the Speyside Bridge that you can walk across on a gorgeous, bright sunny day over in Speyside. Oda Archive, a 10-year-old from Distillery 8, nicely heavily sherried that one. And San Lucar Sunset. My brain just worked out that they all have the same artwork for this region, which makes sense because it is a Speyside Bridge, and per
region.
The artwork's up per region. Adam's telling me from the other side of the camera. Okay. I just worked it out. They are gorgeous artworks though. So which one should we taste? I'm going to actually have a taste of this 1.304 San Lucar Sunset. I heard a few members who have been tasting this at the bar at Whiskey and Almond absolutely rave about it. Let's get first pop of that whiskey going. Get a pour of that going. All right, Distillery 1, the distillery that started it all for us. A 13-year-old, matured in a sherry cask. We've had a bunch of sherried ones through in the last couple of years. They've all been sort of like 10, 11 years of age. Seeing one with a bit more age on it like this. In fact, I could say that we've seen quite a few of these distilleries in recent years on a bit younger scale, but like seeing them a bit older now is just it's just a delight. Very balanced on the nose, really clean. Unmistakably Distillery 1. One of the most iconic Speyside distilleries, one would argue, and one of the most renowned for their sherry cask maturation. We've bottled quite a bit of Burbick's bourbon cask, sherry cask. Delightful stuff. This is the third week of releases for us in the festival month. They're all remarkable. They all have their own sort of style, and they all exemplify the region. Sometimes peated, sometimes not. Of course, just play along with the flavour profiles and pick out your favourites. So Speyside whiskies I tend to find, if I'm being really broad and generalistic here, so no one come for me in the comments, but I always find that Speyside whiskies are generally a bit more, I guess, bold, a bit more sort of like thick and rounded, rather than sort of Highland whiskies, which I find a bit like more sort of like more headspace in a Highland whiskey. It's like they're the floor standers versus the bookshelf speakers, and they're a bit sort of like bigger on the top, if that makes sense. I quite like Highland whiskies. They're a bit more sort of wider on the spectrum of flavour in the mouth. The Speyside for me, they're bolder, they're richer, they're more sort of pronounced like this Distillery 1. So it's all stylistically what you're into. Let's have a taste. I get like that. I always get I call it gazpacho note out of Distillery 1. Really sort of like almost vegetable soup and very aromatic kind of whiskey. That's lovely. That's a perfect example of what a Speyside whiskey should taste like. Over 50 distilleries in the region now, as I said, and we're representing 4 of them remarkably here in our festival releases. The light and tropical end of the 113 and the 39 and the slightly heavier sherry den on the 8 and the 1. Sludgever, of course, use your membership across the world, use it across Australia, come to our events, get some bottlings and open something special this festival month with the SMWS. Cheers, see you soon.